General Hospital spoilers reveal that Jason is stepping into a battle where this time, there are no guns, no mafia, no orders from Sonny, just his heart and intuition with one goal, to protect Carly Spencer at all costs. For Jason, Carly is not just a close friend, not just someone who has been deeply connected to him over the years, but the one woman who makes him willing to cross the line between right and wrong. And this time, Jason knows that if he doesn't act, Carly could be drawn into a disaster greater than any battle they've faced together. What makes Jason particularly worried is not only Carly's feelings for Brennan but also the subtle and dangerous control Brennan is exerting over her. Beneath Brennan's calm, refined exterior and actions once hailed as heroic, he is actually capable of manipulating others in terrifying ways. Jason has faced many dangerous people, from mafia bosses to serial killers, but perhaps no one has made him feel as wary and angry as Brennan, not because he's threatening Carly's life with violence, but because he's slowly and ruthlessly making her lose herself. Carly, with her strong instincts and unyielding will, is now being clouded by her own emotions. Brennan appeared at the moment she was most vulnerable, after all the turmoil and losses, and he played the role of the perfect man, a good listener, someone who acts when needed, someone who says the right things at the right time. But Jason can see what Carly cannot. He knows Brennan is not acting by chance, it's all calculated. From approaching Jocelyn to planting fake DNA at a crime scene to frame Jason, Brennan is systematically building a heroic persona by putting Carly's loved ones in danger, only to rescue them as a saint. And now, Jason is not only facing Brennan, he has to fight Carly's blind faith. This is one of Jason's toughest internal battles. He can't force Carly to believe him, but he also can't stand by and watch her get deeper into a relationship with someone he believes is setting a trap. This pain makes Jason more decisive than ever. Not only is he silently investigating Brennan, but he's also monitoring every action that could lead to danger, especially the psychological effects Brennan is having on Jocelyn. The situation becomes even more serious when Jason realizes the extent of the danger Jocelyn is facing. Brennan bringing this young girl into the WSB organization is not a harmless act, it's a move, a test, and Jason knows the cost of stepping into that world. He has seen many young people crushed by responsibility and secrets, and he won't let that happen to Carly's daughter. With the knowledge that Brennan helped Joss eliminate Cyrus and then covered it up, Jason realizes this is no longer personal, it's a national threat, a conspiracy bigger than Port Charles. Jason knows that if he doesn't act quickly, Carly will be pulled deeper into a whirlwind where she no longer recognizes herself. He doesn't just want to save Carly from Brennan, he wants to save her heart, her freedom, and especially Jocelyn's future. But Jason's actions are not easy because every step he takes might make Carly think that he's interfering, being jealous, or disrespecting her choices. Therefore, he must proceed carefully, patient, but resolute. The story is no longer just about protection. It's a battle between truth and illusion, between instinct and reason, between a man who was once Carly's strong protector and a man trying to step into her heart with gilded lies. And while Port Charles starts to feel the subtle shift in the air, Jason is preparing for a decisive confrontation, where every secret will be exposed, and where Carly will have to choose, either continue being led or face the painful truth to regain her autonomy for herself and her daughter. This is not just a single shock. It's a domino effect that could shake Port Charles. And the only one strong enough to stand in the middle of this storm is Jason. Jason has finally gathered the crucial evidence he needs, information provided by Valentine after days of quiet investigation. It's not just intelligence on Brennan, but proof of the dangerous truth about how Brennan has manipulated Joss and could be exploiting Carly's trust for deeper, hidden purposes. Jason fully understands the severity of what he has uncovered. But the reason he can't act immediately is not Brennan, but Carly, the woman he has always tried to protect. Carly is no longer just in love with Brennan, she trusts him, feels that she's being saved after all her turmoil and loss. To Carly, Brennan is the only person at this moment who makes her feel heard, cared for, and not judged. But Jason can see what Carly hasn't, that Brennan is not innocent, and behind his smile is a dangerous web that Carly is unknowingly getting caught in. Jason has quietly observed, hoping Carly would realize this on her own. But now, with the evidence in his hands so clear, he can no longer remain silent. When Jason meets with Carly and begins to share what he's uncovered, from Brennan manipulating Joss into joining the WSB to him faking a crime scene to frame Jason, Carly's first reaction is not shock, but doubt. She doesn't believe Brennan could be so cruel and cold. She even feels that Jason is acting out of jealousy or because he can't accept that she has moved on without him. Jason can't hide his disappointment. He knows Carly is strong, but this time she's letting her emotions cloud her judgment. Between two people who once understood each other with a glance, there is now a deep divide, where trust is being eroded by misunderstandings and unresolved wounds. Jason is heartbroken to stand before Carly as a warning rather than as a protector. He doesn't want to become the enemy in her eyes, but he also can't pretend everything is okay when clearly, someone like Brennan is quietly dismantling her world, piece by piece. The tension escalates. Carly feels betrayed because Jason doesn't trust her judgment, while Jason feels helpless seeing Carly not recognize the danger Brennan poses, not just to her but to Jocelyn as well. They stand on opposite sides, one fighting with the heart, the other fighting with the truth. But both are in pain. Valentine, who has remained silent for much of the situation, has given Jason the final pieces of evidence along with a short warning. If Carly continues to be drawn into Brennan's orbit, the consequences will be more than just a broken heart, it will be a real disaster for her entire family. And Jason understands that. He's holding the final pieces that could expose Brennan, but will he be able to convince Carly before it's too late? The truth is no longer a choice, but a test. Carly is facing one of the biggest shocks of her life, not just because the man she loves might be a liar, but because the one person she once trusted without question, Jason, is now the one who makes her feel hurt. The relationship between them, once built on sacrifice and understanding, is now on the brink of falling apart due to the collision of heart and reason. In the days to come, Port Charles will witness a battle without gunfire, without bloodshed, but full of emotion and tears, where Jason has to risk everything to keep Carly from a dark future, and where Carly must choose between the emotions she craves and the truth she's not ready to face. And no matter what the outcome is, this storm will leave a crack in the hearts of both of them that will be hard to mend. Carly has never been someone who is easily led or manipulated, but this time, what shocks everyone in Port Charles is her decision to fully, steadfastly, and emotionally defend Brennan, despite all of Jason's warnings. The one person who has always stood by her through every storm. What seemed impossible is happening before their eyes, and it's not just an impulsive act. This is a serious turning point, a reversal that has never occurred in the long history of Carly and Jason's relationship. To everyone, Carly is making a mistake. But in her heart, Brennan is the only person who believes in her, listens to her, and stands by her when everything else around her is falling apart. She doesn't see the hidden schemes Brennan is concealing. She only sees the man who saved her when she collapsed from alcohol poisoning, the one who stayed by her side during days when no one else could understand her loneliness. This trust isn't blind, but a choice made by someone who has lost too much to easily let go of the false sense of security Brennan provides. With all the evidence in hand, information Valentine provided, and what Jason himself witnessed, he approaches Carly with the intention of saving her from a dangerous future. But this time, Jason is no longer someone Carly is willing to listen to. For the first time, Carly speaks out against Jason, openly opposing the way he is intervening in her life. And not just opposing him, Carly places Jason in a position of confrontation, a position Jason never thought she would put him in. This is no longer a mild conflict. This is a real confrontation between two people who once shared absolute trust, now standing on opposite sides. Carly does not accept judgment. She believes Jason doesn't understand her, that he's acting out of jealousy rather than truth. She defends Brennan not only with words but with actions, refusing to listen any further, cutting off the conversation, and demanding Jason respect her relationship. Jason stands silent in pain. He never thought the day would come when Carly would turn her back on him, let alone be the one threatening his safety by unknowingly protecting someone who is trying to frame him to cover up illegal actions. Carly doesn't know, or doesn't want to know, that Brennan planted fake DNA evidence at the crime scene to bury a crime. And Carly's act of defending Brennan, though unconscious, is a real danger she is causing to the one man who has always been loyal to her. The tension between them is no longer simmering, it's a thunderstorm that could shatter everything that once seemed indestructible between Carly and Jason. Those around them, from Sunny to Joss, Christina to Valentine, are beginning to feel the tremors as what was once the most solid relationship in Port Charles now teeters on the edge. A disaster is no longer just a possibility, it's being confirmed with every word, every choice, every suspicious glance between two people who were once inseparable. Port Charles is witnessing a new chapter in history, where Carly, out of love and trust in Brennan, has turned her back on the one man who has loved her unconditionally. And Jason, though heartbroken, understands that if he doesn't act quickly, one mistake from Carly won't just destroy her, it will reduce everything they've ever fought for to ashes. This is not just a turning point, it's the trigger for a chain of disasters soon to explode, and no one, not even Carly, can stop it when things have already gone too far. Jason is pushing further than ever in the silent battle he has determined to win, not only to protect Carly, but also to put an end to the dangerous threat that is Brennan. This is no longer a warning, no longer watching from afar as before. Now, Jason has entered the phase of actual action. With the confidential information Valentine provided, Jason has enough evidence to show that Brennan is not only manipulating Carly but is also hiding darker activities within the WSB, leading to countless political and personal consequences that Port Charles could never have imagined. Jason's plan is not an emotional reaction, it is a cold, precise, and strategic calculation. He knows Brennan is not the type of enemy who can be defeated by simple conversation or an accusation. Brennan is the type of enemy who hides a knife behind his back, knows how to manipulate emotions, and plays the victim card to perfection. Therefore, Jason chooses to strike at the exact point of weakness, exposing the truth that Brennan fears the most, revealing the hidden offenses linked to his name, and showing that he is not the hero in Carly's eyes as she believes. However, this plan is pushing everything out of control. As the closer Jason gets to his goal, the more he inadvertently puts Carly in greater danger. She has no idea what Jason is doing behind her back, and if she found out, she might consider it a betrayal. In an attempt to protect Brennan, Carly is sinking deeper into a relationship filled with suspicion and conflicting emotions. She believes Jason is acting out of emotion rather than reason, that he cannot bear her love for someone else. But Carly doesn't understand, or doesn't want to understand, that Jason has seen things she hasn't. Jason knows that Brennan is not just a potential threat, but a ticking time bomb that could destroy everything Carly is trying to protect, Joss, her family, and even herself. The danger is escalating as Jason no longer has any choice but to push forward with his plan, and Brennan is no longer standing still. He can feel the pressure, and in desperation, he begins tightening his control over Carly, no longer with smooth words but through subtle threats in his actions. Brennan knows that Jason is the only one who can ruin everything, so he begins painting an image of Jason as a saboteur, someone who cannot get over the past, and someone trying to destroy Carly's newfound happiness. Ironically, the more determined Jason is to protect Carly, the more he becomes the threat in her eyes. This is the first time in their history that Carly is not standing by Jason, but standing against him. She begins to doubt his motives, seeing Jason's actions as controlling, jealous, and disrespectful of the new life she is trying to build. And this doubt sets them on a path of confrontation like never before. The emotional explosion between them is now unavoidable, and Jason knows that if he fails this time, not just in defeating Brennan, but in keeping Carly safe, it will be a failure that cannot be undone. The relationship between Jason and Carly is being pushed to its final boundary. No longer is there silent protection, no longer are there trusting embraces or gentle advice. Now, it's a battle between truth and emotion, between reason and blind faith. And if Jason succeeds in exposing Brennan, the cost could be his love, his friendship, and the sacred bond he once shared with Carly. But if he fails, the cost could be Joss's life, Carly's reputation, and the destruction of everything they've tried to preserve in Port Charles. Port Charles is in a moment of crisis. The calm before the storm is about to give way to a huge explosion, where Jason has no choice but to sacrifice everything, even Carly's love, to destroy Brennan before it's too late. And when the truth is finally revealed, the only question left will be, will Carly forgive Jason for protecting her in a way she never wanted, or is everything truly over forever?